now that the policy about flights being cancelled to Australia has been digested, the news about flights being stopped has no doubt filtered through to the Aussies who are stranded in India. There must be just a real sense of helplessness about this whole situation for people trying to get home.
Definitely, there's a panic in the community about travel and especially these restrictions in place. But at the same time, we understand this is a global pandemic and the number of cases has risen beyond capabilities of medical system in place. So definitely, we understand and appreciate this momentarily pause by Australian government. And we hope the flights will resume in 15 days' time. And as we have been reading through different news that there are 8 to 9,000 people stuck in India right now, but the reality is around that in next 2 weeks, around 600 to 700 people would be affected, not being able to travel. And that's sad. So it's difficult situation for those people, but I think this is a global pandemic and the need of an hour is universal brotherhood right now to support each other. And we hear lots of news, people doing random act of kindness in the community, and the community in Australia is very desperate to send help to India as much as possible. And we are working on different logistics possibilities. And one of the possibility is we are reaching out to Australian government if we can top up the aid Australian government is sending to India using Australian government logistics, which would be the fastest means to send some aid to India right now.
Yes, and we certainly have seen commitments already on that front from the Australian government. We're hearing so many very sad stories, Sury, about, in particular, parents being separated from their children for very long periods of time. Often it seems to be the case that grandparents are caring for some young children in India, which must be extremely stressful when kids are involved and it's grandparents who are being relied on in that older age group who are so impacted by the outbreak there.
Definitely, it's for like anybody. Forget about the age group, the elderly or younger. It's a devastating situation for anybody as a human being locked up in a small space, not able to socialize, not able to communicate and interact face to face. So definitely, it's a very extraordinary situations we are going through, and because of some early positive signs of coming out of COVID, people got too comfortable, and suddenly when the case increased, as we were listening before, that the logistics of all those supplies got affected, and sudden with the increase of number of cases suddenly basically, and the community is separated from their parents, like because Australia has got around 50% migrant community, and we are separated from our extended family overseas. And we really extraordinarily looking forward to connect with our family. And one of the possibilities, if Australia can increase the capacity of quarantine and can possibly support connecting with the family, we would like to bring our elderlies over here to protect them, to care for them. And because we are lucky country here that we have more controls in place. So that is what we're looking forward to. And in case of emergency travel, we would like to request Australian government to extend the definition of direct family to include our parents as well. Right now, the direct family definition only includes children and siblings and all, but we would like to include our parents into that list so that in case of support care requirements for our parents, we can bring them here.
There has been criticism of people from Australia, Australian citizens going to India, for example, for weddings. This is a scenario that the WA Premier, Mark McGowan, highlighted several days ago. He also talked about dodgy certificates being issued. That was his language for people coming to Australia in terms of having negative tests before they come. Has there been an undertone in this debate that has been discriminatory, that's been racist? There have been concerns in some quarters that when it comes to looking at the way Australia is dealing with this, that the policies involved, like shutting the flights off, might have some undertones that we should look at closely.
Community definitely is very conscious and very sad about some people using wrong evidences for emergency travel. And we do not support and endorse that. And that said, I was reading some news this morning about that. Yes, government of Australia has stopped direct flights from India to Australia and vice versa. But that does not mean that we have stopped Australian citizens of Indian origin to come into Australia at all. The scientific understanding, interpretation of that pause is that if somebody boarding on a flight from India and coming directly to Australia within 12 hours, that is a higher risk. If somebody is navigating through different means and following extraordinary multi-layers of quarantine requirements from multiple countries, for example, and following all those rules, and then eventually coming after a long time of following all the quarantine, that should not be discriminated as we should not interpolate that pause of flight to extend it to Australian citizens of Indian origin, for example.
Sury, Soni, our heart is breaking for India. It is such a terrible situation over there, and it must be very difficult to have so many family and friends being impacted by it. Our thoughts with the community that you represent. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you.